For decades, Pioneer Car Electronics has supported automotive events nationwide, like Joe's Minibike Reunion. You know, no matter what you drive, Pioneer has the gear to upgrade your ride so it sounds better and allows you to connect with the latest in technology like Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and the popular Alexa. Remember, don't break up with your car, upgrade it with Pioneer Car Electronics. To find out more, visit pioneercarelectronics.com. You know, it takes one tough hombre to keep the LA minibike crowd in check, not only at the races, but also on the rides. Our next guest, by far, is the man for the job. He's Ozzy, and he's coming up next on Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. This is season 7, episode 7. We've got a great one in store for you. We're here with my man Ozzy. For those of you who have been a part of the LA street scene, I don't know, in the last decade or so, that name isn't for Ozzy Osbourne, okay? Got a lot of good things that I think we want to start the show off with. The first one is, hey, all systems go. Joe's Minibike Reunion website is up. It's joesminibikereunion.com. I want to thank my man Robert as well as Emmanuel for all the help. This has been a Herculean task based on the fact that we finally were able to get and secure the permit for Joe's Minibike Reunion, which is October the 8th here in La Crescenta, beautiful CV Park. But once we received that confirmation and we were able to put our thumbs up, we immediately jumped on the website. So much of the details for the website were going to be based around us securing the date. So we got that handled. The website's up. You can sign up and you can register in advance. You can save some money. There's also an opportunity for you to secure a swap space if you're selling some used parts. There's a bike corral if you've got some bikes that are just, I don't know, maybe you're not working on them or you want to sell them so that you can buy that next bike or that get ready with some cash for the next project. We've got a bike corral that you can register for. And if you're a legitimate manufacturer of parts, and you either make them or sell them and you'd like to have a display or an exhibit on site, we'd love to have you as an exhibitor. More pointedly, jump on board as a sponsor. You know, extend your message outside of that tent. Put some banners up, give away some product, give some announcements to tell folks what you're up to. We can pre-promote you on this podcast. We can pre-promote you on the social media that we have. So this is one big shield to let you know that we're ready to go. We're ready to take your money so we can have a good friggin' time, okay? So take advantage of the prices. There is a little bit of an increase in fees when you show up on site because by that time we've already planned on a certain amount and we'd love to have you, but it's a little bit more, you know, so you pay a little bit more if you show up on site. I wanted to address one thing that I think is a little bit, not of a concern of mine, but something that I think needs to be addressed. There's a group of guys that come to the show. And they rather hang out in the parking lot in their pickup truck bed or display their parts for sale next to their wife's Toyota instead of coming into the event because there's a fee. Guys, look, we want you inside. We want you to be a part of the event. We want you to experience it. We want you to meet people. We want you to, you know, get involved in the culture. You don't do that by hanging out in the friggin' parking lot. You do that by being inside the gate. So we came up with a down and dirty participant registration option for you. It's $10 if you do it before the deadline, which I think is in September. You know, there's a date that in September, right before the show, where it's cut off. So if you register for $10 for the down and dirty, you come inside. We give you a goodie bag that's probably worth 20 bucks just for coming in, right? Now you're not eligible to win the prizes, nor are you eligible for the judging. It's just how it's got to be. But you can come in and be a part of it, and dude, I'll hook you up. And if guys are really having a problem financially, just let me know. We work with you. I just want you inside. So I wanted to bring that up. I don't know if there's anything else to elaborate on that. I do want to, again, recognize all the guys who helped me with the website. And on a personal note, I didn't even recognize Emmanuel. Emmanuel's lost 66 pounds. You guys know when you bounce around or you come in to the event or the podcast or you see us out. I wanted to recognize that and congratulate you, Emmanuel, for that good work. I don't know what the hell you're doing. He's probably not eating rice. How you doing it?
Not eating rice.
There you go. But congratulations. You look great and you're healthier. We want you to be around forever. You do the job of 1,000. So good for you, brother. All right. Shout out to our sponsors, Pioneer Car Electronics, our friends over at Studs Racing. Studs Racing is one of your many options when you're looking for high-performance parts for your mini bikes, small engines, go-karts, who cares? Call them up, check them out, studsracing.com. Also to give a shout out to our friends over at Steady Garage. In fact, later on this month, we're going to be having on Ray and Francis from our favorite place here in SoCal, Steady Garage. Steady Garage is synonymous with the mini moto scene. They're in Irwindale, California, for those of you who are local, and for those of you who aren't, you probably don't know what Irwindale, where it is or what it means, but they by far are the leading source, and they set trends, they feed the pipeline for parts. I think they have some acquisitions that we'll get into, but by far they build some of the coolest bikes. That's an upcoming podcast, Joe's Minibike Reunion, so make a note of that. They'll be coming out sometime in June, early July. That's what I'm looking forward to as well. So with all that said, guys, tonight's guest is a guy that we tried to have on the podcast not too long ago. In fact, when we first got the new studio, I want to say he was probably the first guy that I tried to get on. We know him as Ozzy out here. He's Ozzy9286 on Instagram. We prefer to just go with that. If you want to find out more about him, you can check him out. In fact, maybe by now you guys have already done that. Again, it's Ozzy9286 on Instagram. Ozzy is a guy that I met when I went out to visit my buddies over at Fast Lane Racing. They opened up a new shop, and I was hanging out there with Daryl Smith and Lionel and having a good time. Ozzy came around, and I think we exchanged money within the first 5 minutes because I bought an engine from him, and I guess with that story, I'll bring him on. Ozzy, welcome to the podcast, brother.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for having me, man. Thank you.
As I said, you know, when I first met you over there at Daryl's, there was just a connection. You know, we hung out, listened to Daryl tell some stories, and I remember how cool it was to hear Lionel tell stories about the old Joe's mini bike frames, and you know, a lot has changed in this mini bike world. What are you seeing when we talk about the mini bike scene now versus when you first got into it?
Man, it's growing. It's growing fast, you know? And I mean, doing these ride outs and seeing everybody out there all the time, it's like, man, it's just more people all the time, you know? And it's crazy, you know? And it's just growing, you know? The more we do these ride outs, the more I see new people. It's
the social, don't you think? The social media that's probably, so the rides that we're talking about,
right.
You know, I always go back to that ride where we had first met and we rode out to the Santa Monica Pier.
Right.
But there's other rides that are even more, I guess, infamous and have a little bit more notoriety, particularly the one that took place out at Neptune Net.
Yes.
And there's also some upcoming rides in Las Vegas that are your returning. And guys, these are rides from Los Angeles. We're talking about Los Angeles, not only SoCal bopping around, but leaving the state.
Yes.
With that, you know, there's always that 80-20 rule that we had talked a little bit about. You know, you get 80% of the guys that are cool and they all fall in line and they're cool on site.
Right.
And then there's always that 20% that for whatever reason, maybe they're acting the fool or their bikes are raggedy and are, you know, or there's no helmet or they're just, you know, drinking out of the bottle. As you lead many of these rides and you become maybe the voice or the face, you got to deal with a little bit of that. How have you been coping with not only the notoriety and the interest and the love that you're getting, but also the fact that you kind of inherit that other 20% that show up at these rides? How are things going with that? Do you see anything there that's good or bad?
I mean, every man for his own, you know. So it's like when they show up, I mean, man, let's ride, you know. So it's like there's very much you can let them know or tell them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's tough to be like a big brother all the time.
Yeah, exactly, man. We're all there just to have fun, you know what I'm saying? Have fun and try to be safe as possible, you know?
Yeah, so and I get that, right? No one wants to be there to keep people in check, but you do kind of serve that role where you have that image with your role as the starter at a lot of these LA street races. Talk a little bit about that. How did you fall into that gig? Because that's not for everybody.
Man, man, just
who put you in that role?
Man, the ride-outs.
Well, you know what, the starter at a lot of these races too.
I mean, just opening up with people there. You know, all the clubs out there, just talking to them right, and you know, just being straightforward with them, and you know, I mean, they pretty much everyone just started to say, man, let Ozzy flag it, and I was like, man, and I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't like flagging it, I love flagging it, and well, everybody just said I did a pretty good job, you know, so I said, all right, let's do it, man. So I mean,
who were those guys that were suggesting that you were the guys when you go back? Who were those guys that were recognizing?
I would say my boy Woody from Fastlane. He would be one of them. Like it was always me and him. Like Ozzy, you want to flag it? Nah, you flag it, Woody. All right, I'll flag it.
Shout out to Woody.
Yeah, shout out to my boy Woody, man.
And who else was there? Kind of.
My boy Nine from Fastlane too, as well. You know, pretty much Nine. You know, Nine would always be like, hey Ozzy, if Nine wasn't there, you know, it would be someone else, but.
So was it based on not only the fact that your actions on site and the way you carried yourself kind of spoke for that, but did you have a little bit of a reputation before that too? Tell a little bit about when you were a young kid. And
man, when I was young, well, my first mini bike, I'm gonna say I was probably 12, 13. I don't remember what kind of mini bike I had.
I bet it was a Joe's or something. Don't you want to say, you know, because at that time, didn't everybody do Joe's? Wasn't that like the thing? Or Taco?
Yeah. So it's like I can't remember what kind of bike. I remember it looked like a Sousa frame, kind of.
Okay, which was also, there were a lot of those out there, I bet.
Right.
A little bit bigger though, right?
Or it was a little small. It kind of looked like a Joe's in a way, that small.
Okay.
So I just can't remember what that was.
Do you remember the engine you had in it? Or?
Man, I think I had a British on there.
Yeah, because those flatheads, we were talking to Rafa about how popular the Predators are now, but early on when we were first getting in the game, which was before that, there were no Predators. Yeah. There was no leaf on, there was none of that, and no one would dare even put one of those in a bike because it had to be, the preference was the little Briggs flathead like the one you had, but if you can get a 5 horsepower Briggs flathead.
On them, man.
So where'd you get that bike? Do you remember?
Man, my dad actually one day he showed up with it.
I love that day.
And my brothers, you know, I got 6 brothers, and they were just like, they were whatever's about it. And me, I was a knucklehead at the time, and I said, man, I'm going to ride that. So I put gas in it, rode it all over the city of Baldwin Park, you know. So I was all over in that thing, and then...
Did you meet up with, did anybody else in the family want to ride?
No, I was the only one, man.
So he came home with it was a gift for everybody, and you took it as your own?
But I took over it, you know, and it went from there, you know.
How long did it take you to fall off of it?
I think I probably fell like the first week. About a week, I just took a good fall. And
did you get a good scar? Because everybody's got their mini bike.
I did. My knees. That's why my knees are all black, man. So, I mean, I took that, and I can't remember what happened to it, man.
Yeah, mine was given away when we moved. We had to move because I was causing so much problem with that friggin' mini bike. And when we moved to the new place, I couldn't wait for it to come off the truck, and it never did because my mom sold it to the guy who delivered our shit, the guy who drove the truck. That was a tragic time for me. And that's probably why now I have like 5 million of those fucking things because I wanted to make up for that last one. But so did you then hook up with other kids that had mini bikes, or were you just the
No,
sole?
I was the only guy out there.
So you were that
solo
guy?
riding. I was the only guy out there in the city of Bowling Park just riding my mini bike, you know, and I can't remember what happened. You know, we moved out, and I just can't remember what exactly happened to it, you know.
So they take us from Baldwin Park now to being a part of this huge culture. When did you kind of transition over to the other side, LA and the street racing guys?
Man, I took a drive to LA one time, and I think I was over there by 91.
Yeah.
And I saw a mini bike, so I pulled the guy over and I told him, man, where'd you get this mini bike at, man? You know, where'd you get this thing at? I told him. And he said, man, look him up on OfferUp.
OfferUp. Yeah, OfferUp is, you know, the popular online buying and selling site.
I was 12, 13 when I had my last mini bike. So I'm talking probably 6 years ago.
Oh, okay.
I seen this guy and he was like, man, look him up on OfferUp. So I looked him up on OfferUp. Bam, there
Thousands of them.
There it was, man. I got hooked on that.
So did you buy that?
I started buying like crazy.
How
It was left and right. Boom, boom,
just
boom,
so
boom.
were you just flipping them?
Yeah, flipping them because I was doing powder coating at the time. I worked at a company called Cardinal.
Okay.
So what I was doing, I was buying them.
Powder coating them?
Yeah, powder coating them, giving them a nice low look, and then selling them or keeping them.
Yeah.
And man, I didn't know how big this really was until one of my boys named Donald, he called me up one day. I met him on off-road because I was selling a mini bike. I'm sorry, and he said, "Man, there's these races out there in Compton. You know, this is 2018.
Sure.
And he said, man, there's some races out there. But I was already far in with the whole mini bikes, just flipping them and selling them over here in City of Almonte.
So you're in that game, not so much the street racing part.
Yeah, I was riding the rear bit at the time. You know? And then I said, really? And he said, yeah, man. So he came and we bought the first mini bike off me. And it was like a taco, but someone came up with some different parts and added some other stuff to it, whatever.
A hybrid, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So he took that. That was his first mini bike. And he was like, man, we should go check it out together. I said, yeah, let's go, man. When we went out there, man, the first Sunday, man.
It's Anna Street?
It was Anna. This is Anna.
Guys flying.
Anna's. I said, God damn, man.
This is where you want to be?
Crazy. This is where, I mean, let's do it, man. Let's check it out. Went every Sunday, met a couple people, man.
Who were some of those guys early on that you met?
Man, Most Wanted.
Yeah, all right.
Most Wanted was they were just straightforward, real good people.
Who made up the Most Wanted guys at that time?
Faustino.
Okay. Shout out Faustino.
Yeah, shout out to Faustino, my builder, and his brother Andres, and Bobby.
Okay.
Rob, yes.
So
they came up with that.
And when you were rolling down there, was that the time where still MDB was down there and Home Alone was down there, and you had
all them guys were,
a lot of the old school guys were still hanging at that time, right now?
Still out there. Charles, you would see BDMS more out there. You know, you've seen a lot of these guys out there. When I first came out there, I was like, damn, this is cool, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people, you know, were out there.
So that's a pretty big jump then from just rolling out there, from hearing about it to now.
Yeah. That's where it all started, man. That's why I got real, like, man, I want to go fast. You know, I want to upgrade my bike. I want to dip it in chrome. I want it all, man.
And did you want to be a jockey too at the time?
At the time, I wasn't looking forward as a, you know, I wasn't trying to.
Okay, so you weren't a jockey, and were you really one of those drag racing bike builders, or did you find that was almost a different level? Because those guys that were really winning there, let's face it, those guys really had some talents that not all of us have.
Yeah.
So then you weren't there ultimately to race, and you really weren't there building the fastest bikes, but you did become the face of it.
Yeah, I mean,
as the flag man, so to speak.
Yeah.
What are
it took time, you know, it took time.
Now, how does that work? You are the guy, or do you still share some of those duties when those guys are racing?
I mean, I'm always willing to flag, you know what I'm saying?
Are you there every Sunday? Are you there? How often are you there?
I haven't been out there every Sunday now.
Okay.
You know, I'm taking a little break from it, you know, just family.
Yeah.
And, but when I'm there, I'm always willing to flag. You know,
Good.
if it's not me, it's Woody. If it's not Woody, it's Fatty. Shout out to Fatty. He's another guy that's been doing it for, I can say, a decade or more, you know?
You know, I looked at that as, I was trying to think of maybe a role that I could relate to, and you're kind of like the Herb Dean of mini bikes down here. Herb Dean, the UFC referee that not only is based out of here at Pasadena, but he's one of the more prominent faces there. It's one of those tasks where, you got a lot to do in the middle of a lot of other guys that are really whether they're builders or racers or
Right.
what have you, promoters. But you're right there in the middle, and that takes a special talent. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your current situation. You've obviously every shop you're known, whether you go to Small Engine Cams, shout out to Tim, whether you're over there at, he's a great guy. We recently had him on the podcast. It was great to have Tim on there. And Tim will be another guy that you'll see at Joe's Minibike Reunion. But what was I talking about? I think it was getting to your new place now. You've gone from being one of the more well-known personalities in the hobby and in the culture, and a customer at Small Engine Cams, and a customer and a friend hanging out at Fast Lane Racing. But now you've got your own place that really has an interesting beginning.
Right.
Talk a little bit about the shop, and talk a little bit about what we were discussing earlier about how it really grew from not only your needs, but you had so many folks that were a part of your group that the shop really was more of a convenience for you more than opening up as a store. Talk a little bit about it. Now, what's the name of it again for those folks?
Most Wanted.
Most Wanted.
Most Wanted shop, yes.
And where is it located specifically?
It's in, 326 West...
what city?
Compton.
Yeah, so we're in Compton. Yeah, we can figure the rest out.
Not too far from the races.
So tell a little bit about this. It wasn't like you woke up and said, we're going to open up a shop.
Nah, man. Most Wanted, man, I can say they're family, man. Everybody from Most Wanted, ever since I came out there on Anna's, man, they always show love, you know? And, you know, before that, I was already like, man, I want to be from Most Wanted, man. They were out there always, you know, racing and competing, you know?
Yeah.
And real good people. So, you know, I went over there and I said, man, I want to be from Most Wanted, you know? So they said, yeah, man, why not? You know, it took some time, but I became from Most Wanted, and it just became like family now, you know? We like family.
Always
now.
together, always
Always
riding?
together. You know, one jumps, we all jump.
Yep.
For sure that. And, you know, we all get along and we're always together. So one day my Bobby was like, man, we should open up a Most Wanted shop. And I said, yeah, man, that'll be cool. We can all work on our bikes.
Where were you working on your stuff before all that?
My house.
And so they were all coming to your house?
My house or Faustino. I was working on my stuff at my house, or I would go to my builder, Tino. And we would all go to Tino's to drop off for like builds and stuff like that. But, you know, that came to our head. We're like, why not, man? Let's do
Because you had so many guys. And
yeah.
How many folks would you say make up Most Wanted?
Man, there's I'll say about a good 10, 11, 12.
All right. So, and as often as you're riding,
Right.
and the type of bikes that you have, somebody's always needing some work, right?
Right, yes, sir.
So no matter what it's daily, weekly, monthly, week to week, weekend to weekend, you're always working on it. So finally you got to that place where it's like, okay, look.
Yep.
So what did you do? Who
Man, we just came
chipped
up
in
with,
money together and got a
we
place?
just all got together and said, man, let's get the shop. There was a spot open there on Alondra.
Nice.
And we said, let's get it. And it just went from there. You know, Bobby said, yeah, let's do it, man. And we just went from there, man. Now we have our shop, and we all go there and work on our bikes and whenever, you know what I'm saying?
So then if you're all there working on bikes, sooner or later people are going to either see it or hear it,
Right.
especially with people on Instagram and Facebook. So did you then find other people who were just walking in to see if they could get work done or buy parts?
Yeah, you know, Tino's always willing to work on anybody's bike. You know, he's always ready for it. So it's like, everybody knows Tino's Bill, man. He knows he's one of the fastest out here. You know, so a lot of people recognize his job, and, you know, we out there racing.
Well, plus you got to pay rent for the shop, right?
We got to pay rent, man, so.
So if they came in, did you then all of a sudden now you're selling them
Tino
shit and working on their bikes?
Yeah, Tino would take care of them, man.
So you made a little chart of how much it costs per hour, and you started selling. What did you start selling part-wise?
You know, we kind of, like we said, you know, like I said, we were just trying to do a shop for us, you know, just for us. And then out of nowhere, we were just like, man, let's get some little bit of inventory, see if it sells.
Buy a couple Predators,
yeah,
buy a couple frames, maybe?
Tire tubes, you know, stuff like that. And I mean, so far it's been going good, you know?
Who did you reach out to originally then when you decided to get in shop?
GT Hobbies, man.
Rafa?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, we reached out to GT, man. Thank you for the help, man. He's always been good. And
so he opened you kind of in terms of getting you supplies?
Yes, sir. He opened us up, man. He helped us out a lot, man.
How many frames did you set up? Did you get rollers? Or did
yeah,
you
we got everything. We got rollers, everything, man. We got everything there. We have everything. Thanks to GT Hobbies, man. He helped us out a lot.
And what a great line to, I guess, awaken to, knowing that you had that, because that's got to be the most popular frame out there. having not only the ability to get access, but also his support.
Right.
You know,
that's love right there, man.
Is it awkward to now be, maybe from an outsider's perspective, now in competition with some of the guys that, like, you walk into fast lane racing, you walk into some of these other guys. Is that cool now? How have you been received?
It's awesome, man. It's cool, man. It's
so
nice.
nobody's hating on the fact that you guys now have a shop?
I hope not, man. You know, because to be honest, those who know most wanted, we ain't like that, man. We don't hate on anybody. We're out there to compete and race.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That part. Just race out there and they know us, you know, they know Most Wanted.
Yeah.
Those who really know Most Wanted, they know we ain't no haters or nothing like that. We just show love, and they want to race, we'll race. If they want to get billed by Tino, they can get billed by Tino, you know?
Yeah. So in a sea where there are so many folks that you can choose from, we just had Nick on from Prestige Parts Plus.
Right.
You know, what's funny about that is you were talking earlier about having kind of a launch through OfferUp. Nick, too, shared a little bit of that. That's how he kind of got started. So I just wanted to bring that in. But the sheer fact that there are so many outlets. We talked about small engine cams. There's Go Power Sports. There's Studs Racing. There's oldminibikes.com. Plus, locally, dude, it's popping up. People are seeing so much activity. They're going, hey, maybe we'll get a little Alondra, get our own little Florence, get our own little shop, do our own little podcast. I'm starting to see that there's something bubbling. Recently, I saw some young dudes that were going to be doing a mini bike podcast. Dude, I was all over them. Whenever I could do to help them out, I would bring them in here, let them use this. I love that. I'd love to hear somebody doing, like Sprocket's talking about doing events. I love that. Shout out to Long Beach Sprocket, too, for all your efforts. You're really making things happen. Right. I want to catch up on a few other things, too. I wrote some of these things down, and ironically, I never really go back and look at them, because I dig what we're talking about.
Right.
You've got a young son, Kingston. You're doing a lot of stuff with him. I see this through some of your social media posts. Again, you can check him out at Ozzy9286 on Instagram. Recently, I saw you hauling ass on a go-kart.
Yes, sir.
What's the deal with you and the go-kart? So you like all kinds of small engine.
Yeah, man. It went from a mini bike, and then I love the mini bike. I love riding. I feel like I've done a lot of ride outs on a mini bike.
Yeah.
So I said, man, I gotta change it up a little, you know. So I went and bought my first go-kart out there in the IE, and
same way, OfferUp, or
OfferUp. No. You know what? I'm sorry. This guy posted up on IG, and I seen it, and I was first thing. Hit him up. What do you want for it? Drop the price. I'm there.
Dude, what kind of cart was it?
The go-kart?
Yeah.
Man, I'm not even sure.
Just a generic kind of a. All right, so that was your first entree?
I had a disc brake and live axles. You know, nice little go-kart. I said, man, I can't go wrong with the price. And I shoot over there to IE, and I just went and picked it up and took it to GTs and got it going, you know, real fast. And I was excited to ride that thing, man. The minute I got it running,
whole different ride, right? Four wheels instead of two, right?
I love it, man. I love it. I love it a lot.
And what engine did you have in that thing? Were you just
modified? What was it, a Predator?
Yeah.
224cc, the new Predator.
Yeah.
That worked real well.
And it was riding good.
Yeah.
And your son's on it too now.
Yeah. I got one coming out for him pretty soon. You know, I'm just still waiting on it, but he'll be here.
Good. Well, it's always nice to see you guys hanging out with your kids too. You know, that's a big thing, especially nowadays. You know, kids want to be on a phone.
Right.
Sitting down, riding on a mini bike or a go-kart. I just love that stuff. The more we can do with that. So you got the new shop now. Let's talk about, we're kind of getting the end of the podcast. We're going to be giving away some of these cool MBM shirts, just for those folks who will be watching the podcast that'll air. Usually these we'll probably be looking at a podcast now that'll be happening. You can watch them on YouTube, on our Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast channel there. You can watch them on Facebook, Joe's Minibike Reunion page as well. Ozzy, are there events that are coming up now that we can maybe just talk a little bit about here? I saw something about the Las Vegas ride. Literally, you guys ride from LA to Las Vegas?
Yeah, man. My boy Mondo from 50 Felons, shout out to Mondo. Yeah, man, one day we were talking and we were like, man, we got to take this to Vegas, man. And I said, man, we should, huh? Vegas would be cool, man. So we hit up the people out there in Vegas, Slow Boy and Las Vegas Minibike. Shout out to them, too.
Yeah, I've been, if I could stop you there, I want to give a shout out to Las Vegas Minibikes, too. We've been kind of indirectly going back and forth. And when I hear Las Vegas now, not only am I anxious to hear about the ride, which I still can't believe, but we're working on something that could be really big for this mini bike and mini moto culture. And it's could be associated with us having a space at the future SEMA Ignited. SEMA Ignited is the official aftermarket party that takes place the Friday after the SEMA show. SEMA show is a trade show that goes from Tuesday to Friday. But Friday, it opens up a small window where select consumers can come inside the halls, but they can all hang out at the parking lot adjacent to the convention center, which is where SEMA Ignited rocks from about 2 o'clock in the afternoon till about 10. And there's all kinds of automotive activities going on. There's music going on. There's huge crowds. There's cruises. There's food. But I think there may be a future opportunity where we could take advantage of this burgeoning power sports segment in this industry. That power sports segment, particularly because of the side-by-sides and the UTVs, it's blowing up. And there's also a much more of an interest level that consumers have about just getting any whiff or getting close at all to anything going on at the SEMA show. And that interest level has just created a wave that has to be dealt with. And SEMA Ignited is that place where I'm hoping that we can have some presence there to not only promote some of the top bikes and builders that make up our culture from all over, but also bring in some of the coolest bikes, the drag classes, the show class, some electric bikes, some vintage bikes, but showcase our world. Call up our friends over, maybe have Jake Moog get some custom bikes, call Daryl, call our friends at Steady Garage, get some of the coolest bikes, call our friends at Honda Grom Lifestyle, bring in the best of the best, and also see if we can maybe make a little burnout pit, or maybe we can build a bike on site. Right. Maybe we can have some displays. So there's a lot to that. So your Vegas ride, you guys one day are deciding that you need to ride these fucking mini bikes to Las Vegas.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. You know, I hit up everybody and I said, who was down to go, man? Who's down to go to Vegas? You know, I hit them up out there and they said, yeah, man, let's do some. And the first ride it was awesome, man.
Did you ghost the 15? I mean, how do you?
Oh, we didn't ride the mini bikes.
Okay, so
we drove over there in our cars.
Thank you. So that was my whole thing.
Oh man, that would be nice, man. But would the bikes make it? Who knows?
Great. So what did you do, Mob? The strip?
Yeah, we did the whole strip. Went around, got some pizza, got some tacos. Man, it was fun. So we had to do it again.
How many showed up?
Man, we were at least total a good 50, maybe 60.
Of you that went to Vegas from LA, or
no, from LA to Vegas, a good 30.
Okay, so
and then plus.
So what do you think is going to happen on this next ride?
Man, well, we did a second one already.
Okay.
And that one was really. We did like a good 9-hour ride out that day, man.
And how many folks were on that ride?
We were about the same, about good 50.
Okay.
Total 60.
So the cops didn't harass you or anything?
Not whatsoever.
They had bigger fish to fry?
The first time they did, because we were at Old Town Vegas.
Yeah.
So they kind of saw us, you know, and they kind of just chased us out for a little bit. And that was it. They just pretty much chased us out.
Oz, are you riding with those clip-on lights now and all that stuff too? Because I notice when we start these long rides that we start off it's sunny and funny, but then you come back and you got a headache and it's fucking dark out. Yeah. And we're riding these missiles. So those guys those guys that are out there riding and participating or would like to participate in some of these rides, check Ozzy out on his Instagram. We'll be not only showcasing that, but you can also connect with him directly if you'd like. They've got a shop. Who knows? Maybe you're local, or maybe you want to support his endeavors and check out his shop. You can find out a little bit more there. Ozzy, are there any guys that maybe we hadn't touched on that you'd like to give a shout out to? Or
man, there's a lot of people I want to give
a
shout out, man. There's too many people, man. I'm probably gonna forget, but first I want to give a shout out to all the jockeys, man, and all the people that are doing big things out there, you know, for the whole mini bike, man. Like I'm gonna say jockeys, I'm gonna talk about Dylan. He's one of the baddest jockeys out here, Dylan.
Yeah. Who else?
My boy Faustino.
Yep.
My builder. Woody, my boy Woody. You know them, and there's a lot out there, man, that've been holding it down, you know, out there at Anna's, you know. Shout out to Fast Lane for what they're doing. You know, Fast Lane. Yeah, I really like what's happening over there. There's no denying that Daryl's the best at what he does. Yeah. I love the spirit of Linnell. Not only showcasing the fact that you can do this, but he's doing it the right way. I love the seats.
In fact, he put a custom seat on my Jake Mo built Temecula Bob long frame. There was a bike that for a second, because it was too fast for me. I'm 63, I don't want to go that fast anymore.
Right.
And then once I rode it again, once Daryl got me going, it's like, I'll never sell this bike. In fact, I think you and I even talked about it for a second when you were buying mini bikes by the day. But Ozzy, it's been a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Thank you.
I really respect the position that you take, not only as the flag starter, but kind of like you are the straw that stirs this topical, really hot segment now with these ride outs.
Right.
And it takes somebody like you that has, I think, your reputation as well as the fact that obviously you're into this, right? You've got the shop.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You live and die for it,
Yeah,
relatively speaking, and there's no denying that you have a great reputation. I think people respect that. You've earned that. Congratulations for that. I hope that we can have you at our show, Joe's Minibike Reunion. One of the new things that we did this year is based on this popular, I call it the LA bike, the LA bike group.
Right.
And those are the bikes that I think we really are talking about on these ride outs. That group is a group that I really want to embrace. I see a lot of these guys that are actively out there racing and riding. I don't want to be your brother, but if I can help you with helmets, but also if we can maybe have you guys be a part of the show with that new Down and Dirty entry fee for only $10. And if there's a big group of you guys, not only the group that you represent, but anybody that's listening, if you've got a big group, look, we'll work with you. We want you inside. So as I see all these guys pop up with their own little group and their own little logo, and they're showing up all over.
Right.
I had a group of guys from OC Minibikes that rolled up on our last Friday ride, 8-10 guys. They rode from like, I don't know, friggin' Ontario.
Dang.
So these guys they don't realize it because they're having the time of their lives, but they're really, that's a long ride on those little bikes at night. So keep your lights on, keep your helmets on, be safe. I guess that's the message.
Yes, sir. Just be safe.
Where's the next ride gonna be?
Man, we got one coming up on the 26th of this month.
Okay.
I think we're meeting up at Home Depot. Tim and I and 50 Felons are getting together, so.
Home Depot, which one?
I think it's the one on Alondra.
Okay.
I believe.
All right, cool. So check him out. It's Ozzy9286 on Instagram to find out about that ride. There's some activities also that are happening almost every weekend now. A lot of them are happening in the Inland Empire and just about everywhere else.
Yeah.
We've got some cool decals that we'll be also giving away. This one's got a Laker jersey on it for all you locals and for all you haters. We've got some great decals. It's been a pleasure. Have a good rest of your night. Thanks for showing up. Folks, thank you. We appreciate you listening in. We also want to give a shout out again to our sponsors, our friends over at Pioneer Car Electronics, where we remind you, don't break up with your car, upgrade it with Pioneer Car Electronics, and our friends over at studsracing.com, your one-stop shop for all your mini bike, go-karts, and small engine needs. I'm Joe Sebergandio. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast presented by Pioneer. See you next time, everybody.
Joe's Minibike Show.